shoxy's on CT side. Hellraisers go for a long push, and shoxy, he like picks one off at cross through the smoke, headshot, and then jumps up as they plant the bomb and shoots another guy. And you're just like, how do you stop him when he's playing like this? There is no handling shoxy when he plays like this.
Well, we're about to find.
I guess what LDLC are going to be crossing their fingers and hoping for right now is that, you know, shoxy, he's not exactly the most consistent player either. So I'm sure that they're hoping right now that, okay, you know, he used up all of his gas, his fuel for Hellraisers, and now he's going to come back down into the realms of humanity, right? For this game. That
is, I think, what we have to find out right here. And actually, LDLC are off to a pretty strong start. shoxy, the man in question, sort of died right here by Shadows, and he, I mean, maybe overextended a little bit.
Are we live?
We are live.
What?
We're live! Yes.
They've already done the knife. Okay. Well, my mistake. I just thought that they were still warming up, guys. I apologize. That's entirely my fault.
Sorry, there was nothing crazy going on that pistol round, really. LDLC just walked out of the apartments, walked right in there, and it says kick, but it's really Epsilon who are actually on the CT side. I'm sure the Valencia admins are going to figure it out soon enough and switch it around. They are usually pretty good at that stuff. But yeah, that's a great start, obviously. Now, second round coming up here, not the best start as Superfighter takes down Maniac, but obviously for Epsilon, who have both armor and head armor as well, they're going to be pretty happy about the situation. Happy also taking a fair amount of damage, and I'm really not happy about the fact that he's going to keep pushing here.
Yeah, I think he's going to be all frowns. The thing is that they're starting to get dangerously low on LDLC's side, and when you get close with pistols, CZs, 5.7s, this is lethal range. But they do manage to get a man advantage in the mix, LDLC, so they've still got a fair chance at taking this round without suffering any more losses. That's the most important thing for LDLC at this point. They just want to make it through, only having dropped one man. If they lose one guy, it's not the end of the world. If they start giving up 2-3 people to Epsilon, they're not going to be very pleased with their performance.
No, definitely not. Superfighter comes up, spots out Apex, and takes him very low. Actually, right now, it's just really KQLY that has any kind of health left on him. shoxy is still waiting inside here. Very patient play coming out from the French superstar, and are they going to be able to catch him? KQLY not looking the right way. If he gets just one opportunity, and here it comes. shoxy's going to peek out, run right in, and takes the kill. No bomb plant, and now down to a 2-on-2, and this is where things get very frightening. The clock is working against LDLC. 20 seconds. They got to make a move eventually, and when they do, I'm not sure they'll have enough time. shoxy does go down. Superfighter, oh, he's going to fall. But that could have very easily been Epsilon's round, and either way, it's still a very successful round for them.
That was a terrific round from Epsilon. I mean, LDLC don't get a plant. Doesn't really matter that. I mean, it's just bonus money, $300. But I mean, still, LDLC don't get a plant, but they take a lot of damage. I mean, they almost won that round, Epsilon. If shoxy didn't get flanked out and forced out into the open onto A site there, he had 6 bullets left in the CZ-75. But when both of those those LDLC players are so low, that's all he needs to get the job done. They could have very well taken that second round win right there, Epsilon. And then that just throws it all up in the air, because there's something to talk about here as well, is that LDLC just... they've been really shaky this tournament. You know, we're not really seeing the dominant performance that we're expecting to see, especially after we were kind of like shouting their praises just a couple days ago, saying, you know, that they're top 8 material. This tournament, not necessarily seeing that. I mean, we're still seeing like Planet Key and etc., you know, doing well, but it's like LDLC should be coasting like Hellraisers, right? And instead we have like a totally different picture going into the finals here.
Yeah, and this is the transition that a lot of teams go through when they make their way from boot camping and playing online games to actually playing at a LAN tournament. I think this LAN tournament is potentially even worse than most of the others because of the really weird mix of teams. I guess, you know, apart from LDLC and Epsilon here, it's Hellraisers and Overgaming that have been the other two sort of, you know, noteworthy teams.
Hell,
but then and Kick.
Well, there's also KQLY's.
Oh yeah, Planet Key. You're right. So,
Planet
but still,
Key have been doing very well. They took a map off Hellraisers. They made
the point is, I think you're going to be playing against a lot of teams you wouldn't normally be practicing against. So it becomes maybe a lot of the practice you've been through is not going to be all that effective once you get to this tournament, because you're just going to be up against a spread of teams that you're normally not going to be playing against.
That's a valid point. There's also the case of underestimating these teams and talking to players. Like for example, Planet Key. It's a solid team. Players don't exactly, they take them lightly, but not exactly, they don't expect it to be a walkover either. Planet Key can definitely throw their weight around, and we saw that this tournament as well. They really did have some strong performances. So that's an interesting thing for people to think about, seeing as how there was all that drama around KQLY just recently.
Well, that drama will never ever end. Look at the smokes coming in here. It's going to be a standard A push, and they have a really great setup for it, Epsilon. This should be an easy hole for them. shoxy hiding down here in the get right spot. Peeks out and actually goes down, which is not exactly ideal. kioShiMa, though, is going to push up and take down KQLY, and somehow it's ended up in a 2-on-2 with, I don't know. That's really strange. Both GMAX and SF coming in from the same angle. There's no bomb plan yet, and probably going to be hard to get one. Uzi, though, he does have a smoke. They could actually smoke them out here.
They could smoke them out. They still have some nades as well, and seeing as how Epsilon are all stacked up, one HE nade on top of them would be brutal. But there's Uzi with the smoke. It goes down, cuts off CT, and now Epsilon have to start wondering, but there's only 8 seconds left on this clock. This is the thing. Uzi has to get the plant, and he has to get it now. He's going to go for the plant for Courtyard, but he sticks out just a little bit too far, and GMX plays it down to a T. Doesn't matter if he dies now. He boosts up on top of the box in CT and is able to just barely peek out over the smoke, and he catches Uzi right there trying to plant the bomb with so little time left.
I mean, a thoroughly silly round from LDLC. I mean, I'm actually surprised they didn't lose the round earlier when Epsilon had 3 people inside, but once they were in a 2-on-2, what part of you thinks it's a good idea to say, let's plan in the last 4 seconds so that if that guy dies, we will absolutely lose the round? I mean, they had 19 seconds, which is actually still not very much, but, you know, seemed like they just had no reason to really do that. GMX, nice push to underpass, going to take down Maniac, and a really good start for this round for Epsilon. 3-1 is the scoreline, and this is it. Epsilon still looking pretty good, I think.
Happy, good return there, but he gets dropped very low. He should be able to make it out in one piece, though. LDLC, or rather Epsilon, aren't going to chase him. So they do manage to bring it back to a 4-on-4 situation here, LDLC, and that was crucial. KQLY with a great shot on the GMX finally catches him trying to peek his nose out from underpass. He wasn't really going to be escaping that in one piece. So LDLC not missing the opportunities. We are going to have a push from Apex out of the smoke, and shoxy just slaps him down. He says, not on my site, bro. You don't walk out smoke and expect to live through that.
No, and in which world do you walk out of the smoke and expect to live? That's the next big question, but... you know, maybe, I don't know. I actually can't even find a way to justify that. That seemed really strange, especially because now they're going to push the B bomb site. So having Apex over at A right now would be a pretty big value. Only SF is defending. I mean, there is backup sort of coming. shoxy has a really good game sense, is reading this situation really well, and running all the way over here might actually save the round for Epsilon. SF is not going to be easy to find, and shoxy, he hears them now. Going to be calling for kioShiMa, who's just checked the A slope, so they definitely know it's going to be a B push. Attempted plant coming out here, but Happy goes down. Bomb is planted, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough.
No, quick change as well. 1-for-1 here. Uzi is still alive on the site to support his mate. KQLY is desperately looking, trying to hunt for shoxy, but he knows he's about to get flanked as well. He looks away, and the timing works for shoxy. He's going to manage to pick up the 1, gets the 2nd as well. And shoxy with 3 kills just shuts down the B side. Doesn't even matter if they have a kid or not. They get it done fast enough.
All right, a nice movement from shoxy at the end. They obviously had no idea what was going on, and seemed like LDLC had a few communication issues at the end. I'm not sure if KQLY could have known that shoxy was coming, but once he went down to shoxy, I feel like there should have been some more communication going on. But that's how it goes. They get the bomb plant against LDLC, and they're on the less favored side. So 2-3 is, you know, it's all right at the beginning. This looks like a fairly even game at this point.
At this point, yeah, it seems like everything's kind of going according to plan. I mean, Epsilon still don't have mountains of cash to work with. They are getting punished, losing members, you know, so that's a big thing here. It's not like Epsilon are just shutting LDLC down now that they've got guns to work with. They're still losing quite a few members. That's going to cost them here. But it looks like LDLC, their plan this round is just to run out onto the A side. kioShiMa from Electric picks up 1, and mistou is there to support as well. 2 quick kills come in for Epsilon, and they even managed to deny the plant. Big play here from, well, one of the French teams.
Absolutely. Really, really well done. I actually thought that was going to be a plant because the guy coming in from CT spawn was shooting at the wrong angle, but I guess the guy from Connector or Jungle or whatever was going to be able to do it. So you're absolutely right. That's the big thing in that round. LDLC just wanted to get that bomb down. They can still buy, but as you can tell, KQLY now has no body armor at all. It's a glass cannon AWP against shoxy, who also has an AWP. It's going to be interesting.
That is interesting. I want to see how well shoxy is performing with that AWP. Last time we saw him as Dreamhack Summer, he never really seemed to have an impact on the game once he picked up the sniper rifle. So we have to see, you know, here we're in the finals, Dreamhack Valencia, the next Dreamhack in the circuit. Is he going to be able to make it work for himself? GMX spots a man getting behind mid boxes mid boxes basically, so he has a little bit of information going there. Maniac actually catches shoxy pushing in B apartments, and that's actually a big blow dealt to the defense here.
Okay, I'm glad I didn't get a chance to talk while you were saying all that, because I was about to interrupt and say I really love this position from shoxy. I think it could definitely get them a kill. So I thought that I'm going to stick to it. I think that was a really good idea from shoxy pushing up that aggressively. Obviously, Maniac's AK shot was just a little bit better, but now SF picks up one and then swaps to the AK. I love this style from SF. Really nicely done. See if he can actually get another one. He is going to go down, caught with a grenade out, and that should be a bomb plant. Now, what's really interesting is Happy coming up from behind. If he has the right timing, he can win this round from LDLC.
Have a look at GMX's positioning right now. He's in a great spot. Now kioShiMa pushing in, manages to pick off Happy behind bench. It's going to come down to actually a one-on-one Happy and kioShiMa, but Happy's way too far away.
I was going to say, it's great that Happy got that kill, but it would have almost been better if he had waited, because that kill meant that kioShiMa knew, 100% certain knew, that he was just going to be able to defuse, so... Actually, that's a tough position for Happy to be in. Like, imagine how far ahead you have to think to try and realize that I'm not going to get the kill on guy on short. I'm just going to wait and then walk into kitchen. But that's probably what he should have done. But yeah, there it is. 20/20 hindsight and all that stuff. 4-3 is the scoreline. And again, Samuel, just to point out, we're down into, you know, a 1-on-1 or a 2-on-2 at the end of each of these rounds.
Yeah, it is very close. I mean, it's coming down to the very limit here, but look at this. Epsilon and, I mean, shoxy and kioShiMa both pushing into mid, managing to pick up a kill each, and that's great play there so far to start them off. Epsilon taking control of this round, and this is a buy round from LDLC as well. Thanks to that bomb plant, they've actually had enough money to invest and get some good nades going, but they haven't really been able to do anything at all with this gear. They've just been shut down right at the start, and then Epsilon, smart on their part, rather than like hang around and give the LDLC an opportunity to get back into it, they just fall back and start holding very passively. They're going to make LDLC work for this round.
Yeah, and if they can come out of the round right now with 3, 4, 5 members alive, that'll be really huge. kioShiMa's got to be careful. He's going to peek in here and just shoot through this wooden panel. That is a new addition to the map. He doesn't actually kill anyone yet, and he's very low on health. But Apex is equally low, and kioShiMa will be falling here. It's back into a 3-on-3, but I still feel like Epsilon should have this. Bomb is down, and SF coming up from behind is going to be really hard for Happy and Maniac, and now just Maniac to fight his way out, and he won't. So 3 members survive, and a definite improvement this round for Epsilon.
Yeah, great timing there from GMX as well. He played that down to a T on the A site. Just went for the fake and then managed to wrap around and get the man pushing out from connector as well. So GMX really the linchpin there for Epsilon, because if he goes down, then LDLC might actually manage to pick up that bomb and get a plant there, because the smoke was still down at connector, so there was no possible like aid from short or mid. So it would have been a bit of a hairy situation there. But GMX, he steps up, and actually GMX so far in this game, not doing too shabby. Second on the board right now, actually top fragging on the map. Or not on the map, but on the CT side.
Yeah, and that's a big worry, I think, for LDLC, because, you know, just reading the post-game chat on various forums, everyone was saying, all right, well, what if shoxy doesn't have a game like he did against Hellraisers? Then surely LDLC are going to win. But if the rest of Epsilon can step it up and sort of just even survive long enough until shoxy decides to turn on that, you know, that God mode, well, then it's not exactly fun, is it? And if they're doing that right now, then that's a really good sign. Oh, but Happy with some super headshots, taking down the whole of the A-bomb side, and now SF and shoxy should... Well, actually, they get that kill on Maniac, so now they should definitely go for it. Yeah, that kill makes a big difference, and LDLC don't really have any nades to work with here. It's going to come down to SF. He's just trying to ferry Apex over, force Apex into CT spawn. Apex peeks, takes too long with it. shoxy gets the freebie, and now it's Happy alive, but there's so many nades to work with here. They even have a smoke. If they just smoke off A apartments right now, Happy can't do a damn thing, but they think he's in pit. It still works out for Epsilon. SF with his position by stairs manages to spot Happy peeking out from A apartments, and they will get the defuse. So that's now 6 rounds in a row here for Epsilon. If they got the rifles, and now they're actually starting to chain these rounds together. Whether they're keeping a whole bunch of people alive or not at the end of the round doesn't really seem to phase them. They're still managing to come through. So, but what's really scary, well, it's not scary. What's really a little bit frustrating at the moment for LDLC is that, as you said, it's been 6 rounds in a row, but a number of these rounds have been not entirely lost, but they've been weakened significantly by LDLC making some really weird mistakes. This time it was Maniac's turnover at the B-bomb side. Once Happy gets those 2 kills on the A-bomb side, they can more or less know that there's not going to be anyone else on the A-bomb side, and there's no reason for Happy to expose himself and risk going into a 2-on-2 instead of a 2-on-3. He could have just waited. They were obviously going to have to rotate to A if they wanted to win the round, so LDLC, when it comes down to it, I mean, the fact that they can bring it into a 2-on-2 is a really good sign, but if they can't win that 2-on-2, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, that's the thing. It's going to come down to the clutch rounds in the end. Those 2-on-2, those 1-on-1 situations, LDLC, it seems like that's going to be what it takes here. They have managed to sneak 3 guys up connector, however. This is a pretty good position for them, but I do believe shoxy is waiting in CT, and there it is with the AWP. Gets boosted up.
and he's even looking for the follow-up shot onto KQLY. Is he going to risk this? I mean, it's a
He
bit of a
doesn't have
false
to.
move, but you know that there's guys there.
He doesn't even have to, but he is going to peek out, and actually it's going to be GMAX to take down one. Now Happy is alone, and nobody dies for Epsilon this time. So now things are getting a little bit more tricky. A good kill comes in onto kioShiMa, but it's probably going to be the last one. Happy completely caught out here. They know exactly where he is, and as he falls back, GMX will take him down. A great round from Epsilon. That's the kind of round that Epsilon, I think, really need. And now the money is starting to build up. shoxy with 10,000 and still around 7.5 on GMX. So that's the kind of scoreline we're looking for here, the kind of economy.
Yeah, agreed. Once you start having a bit of a bank to start to work on the CT side, that's the crucial part right now. They have that cushion to fall back on with shoxy. I mean, looking at the LDLC right now, if we bring up the scoreboard, I mean, it really is just Happy who's putting in a whole lot of work right now. Apex trailing behind, and then the rest of them kind of fizzling in the background. So we really need to see the rest of LDLC step up here. It can't just all come down to Happy. We need everybody hitting their shots for LDLC to manage to get the rounds that they need in this half to consider it a success.
Yep, no doubt about that. And I don't really know. This is a little bit unfortunate, I think, for LDLC. Had one of these rounds, you know, the first. Well, now we're looking at an 8-3. That's 8 rounds in a row, by the way, for Epsilon. If one of these rounds had gone LDLC's way, it could have been Epsilon saving, and we could have had LDLC at, you know, 5 rounds instead of just the 3. But it's not happening right now, and I'm a little bit surprised that I'm not surprised that it's Happy on top because he's a very good player, but I'm surprised that KQLY and Apex aren't doing more than they are right now.
Agreed. I think that's the thing. That's what I'm alluding to, or kind of what comes to mind, right? Because when we talk about LDLC, we really expect KQLY and Apex to be the guys who are throwing the heavy punches, right? Doing a lot of the heavy lifting for the team, and it doesn't seem like that's happening right now at all. It really does seem like it's Happy who's putting in the majority of the work.
I'm wondering if mistou. Oh yeah, they're going to flash their way in just as Apex is setting up for a smoke. So a very nice counter to whatever it is LDLC were trying. Over here, Maniac's looking for the smoke. It's going to clear. And why on earth? I mean, these are the mistakes that I'm talking about. The smoke is clearing, and Maniac thinks, I'm just going to pull out a grenade. You know, so if there is someone on the other side of the smoke, I'll definitely not be able to kill him. That didn't make any sense.
Well, they're not managing to get the reads that they need to, right? It really doesn't feel like LDLC, they have a firm grasp of what Epsilon are up to right now. Perhaps it's just a play style, perhaps it's something along those lines. But yeah, that does seem fairly...
I think this is just
basic.
I think it's just LDLC. At this point, they're mind gaming themselves a little bit. And, you know, when people say what's the difference between playing on LAN and online, mistakes like that one is one of the differences. You know, I'm not saying that you couldn't have done the same mistake online. You definitely can, but there's more pressure here, and you forget really, really simple things, and it comes back to bite you horribly. 9-3 is now the score we're looking at. It's still not really out of control. I think if LDLC can pick up 2 more rounds here and make it 10-5, then they're still in this map. If they only stay at 3 or 4 rounds, I don't think that's going to be enough.
It's going to be really rough for them, right? What I would love to see really is just, already we have an aggressive push into A apartments. Maniac, quick 1-for-1 up there. But in the meantime, this is going to open up the A defense. This has actually worked. Uzi with a great headshot on mistou. He manages to clear things up. And now the smokes go down to cut off the rotation coming in from Epsilon. We need one down on CT to really make this safe. But GMX gets flashed, and that's going to slow him down enough to allow LDLC to get into position.
Yeah, well, shox still looking for the shot through. GMX is going to go down, so a pretty good round so far. Where is that bomb plant? I mean, they're giving Epsilon a lot of time. shoxy is very low. SF comes through, gets the 1 kill, and shoxy's there. Happy is going to be alone, and he goes down to shoxy with a double kill. And, I mean, if you needed any more evidence that LDLC are basically mind-gaming themselves, I think that was the round to just look through for.
What in the flamin' hell was that?
They had 5-on-3, and then they killed GMX, and they just were never able to put the bomb down at all, in spite of the fact that they had the bomb site initially.
They were all going for the one guy who's at connector. That allowed for the biggest flank in, like, tournament history. I mean, that was 3 kills that were basically for free because nobody was watching CT for LDLC. Out of 5 guys, nobody watches CT? That's just insane.
Yeah, it really is insane, and I think the nerves right now are getting to LDLC. Maybe they have had a long day, but pretty much everyone had, I think. And there's been some weird disconnects with the internet over in Valencia, so there's been a lot of weird issues like that. But, I mean, I don't want to try and take anything away from Epsilon here. They're playing it nicely. 10-3 right now, and now it's going to be a 4-on-1. And if they can't win this, then, you know, people are going to get angry.
Well, GMX gets 1. That's the beginning here. And there it is. KQLY to lock it down. Good position from him, and Connector actually catches GMAX. Well, I mean, GMAX, that was like an unwinnable position. Even there, LDLC, I mean, I don't think he can throw a decoy that LDLC are all going to go running towards, and give him the opportunity to shoot them in the back. But, like, LDLC, now they give themselves a fighting chance. Maybe if they get 5 rounds. That's enough for them. If they pick up the pistol in the second half, then we start looking at an even game, more or less. So LDLC, all of the pressure right now here. They need to pick up this final round.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 10-5, win the pistol round, then you're at 8, and then you're doing pretty well. Apex starting off well, and shoxy missing a shot for the first time in a while. I mean, he's at 16 kills. Actually, 15. It's GMX at 16. But I think this alone, the fact that GMX, shox, and SF are sort of both doing pretty well, or all 3 doing pretty well, I think it's a very healthy sign for Epsilon, and a scary one for LDLC.
Agreed. Right now, we still have Epsilon making the right call. It seems like they're still trying to hesitate. They're still hesitating as to where they want to put that remaining guy, GMX. He's kind of floating around in CPL window area, and they've worked their way back out to mid right now. 2 members from Epsilon, and now they're about to get locked out of their own site. This is not ideal. They had much better positions just a second ago, but now we have GMX. He needs to be the one to land the shot, but the smokes, they're blocking him.
Yeah, and GMX just doing incredible work. Very aggressive, and somehow no one from LDLC can return. Oh my god, GMX! 4 kills in a row, and no answer at all from LDLC. Apex is going to take down one, turns around, and GMX is looking for the ace. He just needs one more bullet. shoxy's going to steal it away, and LDLC throwing, just absolutely tossing another round right into the toilet. That was... I can't even count. I think we're up to 5 or 6 rounds in this first half where LDLC have basically just given it away themselves.
Yeah, this kind of seems a little bit odd, but it's like hive mind, sort of.
There's just like there is
LDLC. Well, you see what I'm saying? Like, where LDLC, they focus on one thing at a time, basically. It's like, okay, we're going to put all 5 guys going here. Like, we got to get the bomb down. Okay, everybody go get the bomb down, right? They're not looking anywhere. They're just, okay, focusing on what they have to do. But then everybody's doing it. It's not 5 individuals playing as a team. It really does seem like, one big individual with 5 limbs that are all trying to do the same thing.
Yep. Oh, that grenade was weirdly ineffective. That only did 27 damage to shoxy. It seemed like it should have been way more. Anyway, I think, that is what it looked like that round. Very, very confusing. I mean, they put up a smoke towards connectors, sure, but they knew that smoke wasn't covering the top of the stairs, and yet nobody, not a single person, that whole round looked for GMX, not even once.
Yeah, that really was surreal. I mean, granted, he had an M4A1, so it's tough to say exactly where he's shooting from. But I mean, still, stairs is a place that you should be looking at, regardless of whatever the hell is happening on the site. But good clearance there by GMX. He's actually taking a look around. It's going to be a 1-for-1. Apex gets caught at the back of the site, and now the rotation comes in. SF just standing his ground, taking the fight versus KQLY, who will not fall. He's still in this, and then just goes out with his teammate and gets 2 kills. KQLY doing big work here. Now LDLC may have a chance. Happy. He's close enough now, and he's close enough now to be able to actually have a real chance of taking this 1v2.
I would say he might have a chance if shoxy wasn't alive, but I rate shoxy as one of the absolute best pistol players in the world. But it doesn't even come down to shoxy. mistou actually picks up a double kill. But that is probably the nail in the coffin here for LDLC, at least for this first map. I mean, this is very likely going to be 14-4 before LDLC can realistically buy. Although the fact that they're not buying anything right now means they might just go for a FAMAS buy in the next round.
That's what. Yeah, exactly. Good point to catch there. It does seem like LDLC, they may be up to some shifty business here, trying to catch Epsilon by surprise. I think it's more of a case of just they cannot afford to give Epsilon more rounds. So they give them 1. Okay, they stop them at 13. They still have a little bit of a cushion to work with, right? If they do manage to start chaining rounds together, they lose 1 round. Okay, yeah. It's still 14, right? So LDLC may have that in mind. But that's still like the Hail Mary, because if they lose that, then it really is lights out for LDLC on this first map. And this is a best of 3. And actually, Anders, did we manage to get the information as to what the full map set was for this tournament?
I have no idea. I can find out. So it's Mirage, Inferno, Nuke, I think.
There we go. Inferno and Nuke. Inferno as well.
Yeah, which is a map that Epsilon played, I think, pretty well on earlier. And then Nuke. I don't know.
I believe that was a map that Epsilon won. They won versus Hellraisers. That's right.
Yeah.
So Epsilon clearly in shape. I mean, Hellraisers are pretty damn good on Inferno. So if you manage to take them out, that's a good achievement right there.
It definitely is. Things looking really good right now for Epsilon, being up 8 rounds against LDLC. Happy hiding alone in the back here by the bench, which is even no longer there. But with the USPS, probably not going to be able to achieve too much. But, you know, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt until GMAX shows up. Then it kind of all fades away.
Yeah, and Apex trying to rotate in right now. kioShiMa's holding him off on short. He will get overwhelmed, actually. Epsilon not quite holding there, but still, this is just Apex alive with 16 points of health. Not a whole lot of hope either. GMX already on the hunt for him in kitchen. It's just Apex, he's just going to play it patient, cross his fingers, hope somebody goes running by who's low on HP. But everybody's already clearing out towards mid, towards B apartments. There isn't going to be a whole lot of opportunity here for Apex.
No, speaking of Apex, though, he has stepped it up. I mean, I was calling him out a little bit earlier, saying Apex and KD needed to wake up, and Apex is at 17 kills, so you can't really fault him anymore. KQLY hasn't seemed too effective with the AWP so far, and we saw him in the first half miss some very important shots on shox. And Uzi and Maniac, well, can't really say much about them yet. We need to see more action from them before we can really count them in the game yet, I think.
We need to see some strong holds. That's the thing. Maniac, Uzi in particular, who's been doing just great work for LDLC in recent times online, you know, has been getting great results, and he's not really. He doesn't really feel like he's shown up to this match. KQLY does manage to find one on kioShiMa though, but that's going to slow things down as the smoke goes down to cut off CT from this A site. We still have Epsilon, all four members kind of milling about by the pit. They're finally going to make their way onto the site, but Apex catches one through the smoke. Great shot from him.
Yeah, oh, but some good counter spray coming out from SMF, and now the bomb goes down, and for Epsilon, just to point this out again, look how quickly they plant once they actually are in the site. They try and go for the fastest plant possible, although mistou did die, but that's not really their fault. It's still going to be down to shox here in a 1-on-3, but now, see if he can clutch it once again. I mean, it is shox after all. He's looking for the one. There's a headshot. Goes for a second, nearly takes down Maniac, and Happy just charging in here is going to be able to take the kill on the Madman, but I don't know. I think that's the power of shox at this point. I think everybody on the server believed that maybe shox could have done that 1-on-3.
Yeah, I think if Maniac just barely made it out of there in one piece. 8 HP. He just barely made it around that box in time to save himself. If it turns into a 1-on-1, there's no reason not to think that shox couldn't win that. Even if it is against Happy, who's been top fragging, or he's actually dropped off a little bit down to 16 frags, but still, he's been doing a lot of the work for LDLC so far in this round. Shoxy's just like this force of nature right now, who is not top fragging. GMX is top fragging on the map.
Yeah, he is. Look at this, though. Happy, ready with a flashbang, and I think when he flashes, it's going to be a couple of people in the middle, just peeking out. Uzi's one, and actually mistou does get flashed by that. It's a very cool flashbang. That's worth just keeping in mind, guys, when you're going to be playing with your friends in matchmaking. If you set that up, maybe able to get some easy kills on some Nova Golds in the middle. Now, Uzi does take down one, and a good spray from GMX controlling that AK takes him down right afterwards. And Maniac trying to buy some time with the smoke here, but the push is looking like it's going to be towards the B-bomb side.
It seems to be floundering somewhat here, however. I mean, they are slowing down. They've lost GMX on short with a good hold from Maniac. Another smoke goes down in B apartments, which makes that pretty much an impassable place on the map. They can't get through there. Apex and Maniac, they've doubled up on the defense here. And that's just LDLC playing to that man advantage that they have now until SF goes for a spray through the smoke and shoots Maniac in the face.
Not exactly an ideal situation. Happy's still waiting here, but if shox finds the right timing, that is going to be scary. If Happy goes down here, that might open up the whole map, and shox ready and waiting. Happy is just right here, and he's not going to look, and he goes down. LDLC. I mean, what is happening? Apex now alone on the bomb site, and he needs back up quickly. He does good damage, but he has to get at least one kill. That grenade, what? I don't even know what just happened. KQLY's now alone in a 1-on-3, and LDLC just actually seem like they've forgotten how to play very basic Counter-Strike.
They are all over the place. Although Epsilon, I think they're pretty pumped as well. kioShiMa had a clear sight of Maniac for a long time there and didn't realize it until Maniac started to shoot at him. But up on top of Van like that, it seemed like a very odd position. Right now, things are pretty much at their worst for LDLC. There's not a whole lot of hope for them. I mean, they won a round, but the problem with that is that they needed to keep winning rounds because now their money is atrocious and they have to pretty much go for a buy. And they aren't even just going for a full buy. They really are going to play for the tie here. That's interesting. I mean, it's a 5 to 15. I mean, if you're going for 10 rounds in a row, that's a long way there. But I guess LDLC, they really want to give themselves the best chance possible to make that run.
Yeah, but it's interesting because you're absolutely right. A lot of teams that we see in this situation will go for the, see if they can make the full comeback and make it 16-14. Almost nobody chooses to go for the tie. So we'll see. I have to say, this whole first map has just felt like LDLC trying to remember what it's like to play Counter-Strike on any level at all. Like, some of the mistakes we've seen have been quite severe. Put it like that.
And it just seems like miscommunication, not being aware of where your teammates are, who's holding what. Like, this is basic stuff that's like practice, right? Where it's just like you go through your rotations when you get onto a site, who's holding which position and who's looking towards where, and all this sort of stuff that basically you're supposed to iron out with your team and make sure that it's just ingrained in you. You don't even have to ask who's looking at what, because you know who's going to be looking at what. That sort of thing, it doesn't really seem to be present at all here. So, I mean, and both teams, I think, are making some mistakes. It just so happens that, like, Epsilon are the ones who are really landing the shots.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just LDLC. Again, they go for the buy. They go for the force. And they're not going to have a whole lot of nades, but they still have some decent firepower to go into this. So we have to see if they can actually start the comeback. You know, is it real?
Well, not with GMAX and mistou landing headshots like that. That's Uzi and Apex falling immediately. KQLY goes down, a sick shot from shoxy, and it is down to Happy and Maniac. 16-6 is, or 16-5, sorry, is going to be the score here, as Maniac is in a 1-on-5, and nobody has taken any damage on Epsilon's side. Wow. So there is, I mean, so this isn't really something that Epsilon can actually use for anything. But if you were Epsilon, you went back and looked at this game, there'd be 100 situations you would look at where you could say, if we adjust things even slightly, like just, you know, wait a little bit longer or go a little bit faster or talk a little bit more together, then all of a sudden this game is completely different for LDLC's side. But you can't really, I mean, once you're at a LAN and you're